Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 in a best of 3 between Gonzo and Herr Robert in the semi-final of the second European tournament. So previously we saw VulcanHD defeat Player 2-0, which was quite a convincing win for VulcanHD. Player definitely put up a better fight in the second game than he did in the first, but in the end VulcanHD got the upper hand. In this one we'll have to see if Gonzo can take on Herr Robert. Herr Robert definitely a decent player, but Gonzo of course well known for his strong aggressive strategies that we have seen defeat people very quickly in the past. And today he has his hands on the second Armoured French on the Allied side, whilst Herr Robert is using the 16th Luftwaffe, which is quite amusing to me. I really did not expect this going into this game, and today we are going to be seeing Pegasus Bridge. So, the 16th Luftwaffe. Personally, I feel like they are potentially the worst division in the game, especially for 1v1s. They do not have much offensive capability due to the lack of really mobile units. They rely a ton on infantry, although they do have some quite decent infantry in the Luftwaffe Pioneers in Phase A. They really struggle to support them well with tanks early on, since they don't really get any decent tanks other than the FTs in Phase A, and the FTs are not very good. So that is something that Herr Robert's going to have to try and deal with. The only way I can see him winning is if he gets his infantry into decent positions, especially in the town in the mid and on the bottom side, and then finds the ambushes he needs to with Panzerschrecks. There's also the potential that 88s can be used as frontline units, but the French moving into Phase B do gain access to M7s, which can artillery or use their artillery to attack any form of AA that Herr Robert brings in, especially if it's 88s he's trying to use on the front line to take on enemy tanks. So that's just, I feel like, not going to work out very well. The 88s can be overrun even by the M4 A3s with the 105mm guns with that 15 HE. So that's something that I could see Gonzo using quite effectively to break through Herr Robert if this moves into the late game. But that's if it gets that far. Because in the early game, things like the M8 Spy are really fantastic against divisions like the 16th Luftwaffe that don't have any AP and armored AP armored vehicles that they can use to counter an M8 Spy. Because the main thing that stops an M8 Spy from doing well is either an AT gun or a tank, basically something with decent armor that the M8 struggles to penetrate. Whilst that armor has some penetration value itself that can get through the light armor of the M8. Whereas with the 16th Luftwaffe, they definitely lack those AT guns early on, and often people tend to rely on Panzerschrecks. But Panzerschrecks aren't so much of a problem for the M8 because they can just be supported by infantry, and then the infantry will discover the Panzerschrecks. And I mean, the M8s have recon themselves, so they should spot infantry as well that could potentially take them out, like the Luftwaffe Jägers, which have the Panzerschrecks, or Panzerfaust, sorry. So the French are in a very decent position to take on the 16th Luftwaffe, and I can't help but feel like this is an incredibly bad tactical decision from Herr Robert. But either way, let's have a look at these deployments. On the left side, we have Gonzo here with his M8 Spy. He's got a Nueve squad, he's got the voltages, he's got some Spy leading the charge with the command. There's going to be 2 flamethrower squads heading towards the town, accompanied by 2 voltages and the command with an M5A1, and just 1 unit of voltages with a bazooka squad on that top side. Over on the side of Herr Robert, he's investing in an 88 early on to cover the approach on the top side, which is quite a decent unit to do so, but he would need to make his way into this orchard to really make full use of that unit. That's going to be supported by a Flak Panzer Bren on the top side with one of the MGs there and a unit of Panzerjägers, I want to say, with also a Panzerschreck following up. There's going to be an MG34 moving into the back side of the town with the Luftwaffe Führer and another unit of infantry there. Also a Panzerschreck. There's going to be a Pak 38 moving into position to cover the open ground on the bottom side with the Luftwaffe Jäger there and the Panzerschreck, also some Aufklärer. But already you can see that Gonzo is going to get the upper hand in terms of territory grab due to the forces of Herr Robert being very slow. These UE 630s are really slow off the mark, and that can definitely mean they get into position very slowly, and that's a problem, especially for things like Panzerschrecks that often want to ambush enemy forces. And seeing that Panzerschreck move into that, or that UE 630 move behind that tree line, he's going to know there's a Panzerschreck there or an Aufklärer. So either way he wants to take that out, and he just has to run a voltages towards that to find it. So the flamethrowers, they're going to get engaged initially by the MG34. The M5 half-track is going to move up aggressively, so is the M5A1. If this Panzerschreck was already in position here, then it may have been a threat, but due to it being slow, it's been deployed quite far back, and that's going to make quite a bit of difference. Now, the only way that Herr Robert can really get around this sort of engagement is to potentially bring in the Panzer Jäger Bren, which has the 5 AP on it. At close range, it can do quite a lot of damage. Here we go, Pak 38 is going to be engaging the M5 half-track, voltages find and kill off the Panzerschreck, M8 and the M5A1 immediately falling back as soon as the Pak 38 is revealed. Now all Gonzo has to do is rely on his mortar that he already has on the way. So Gonzo's probably thinking to himself at this point, especially at the start, like, what could counter my push that the 16th Luftwaffe have access to? Pak 38, so I'm going to buy a mortar. That's exactly the thought process that brought him to the situation, and he already has the mortar in position to take that out, should there be one there. And so Gonzo is always one step ahead and can easily take care of what the 16th Luftwaffe have to offer, and that's like the main problem that I foresee throughout this game. They just don't have that armour that they need to counter the aggression that the French will imply in Phase A. It's as simple as that. Now the Panzerjägers, they're already taken out. Panzerschreck's also going to go down, and right in the face of the MG34. And these voltages, they can deal quite a lot of damage at close range. They do have 8 HE. And as the smoke clears, while the M5A1 is also going to open up, and on this bottom side here goes the 81mm mortar. It's going to be trying to engage the FK288. Now this is something that I didn't mention on the side of the Luftwaffe that can make them pretty strong, is these 16th Luftwaffe, if their FKs are used primarily to counter battery mortars, they can be used really effectively, because FK288s actually have 2,400 meter range. So that is quite powerful for Phase A, and they aren't overly expensive. And if they get ran down to the point where they have to engage, they have a 1,200 meter range AP engagement against enemy vehicles, so that works out nicely as well. Pak 38 is still going to be a bit of a threat, but due to the amount of half-tracks here, there's a potential this Pak 38 is going to be pinned down, and if it does end up pinning the M5A1 instead of killing it, well, it's going to change target, and that means that it needs to re-aim. The 81mm mortars are in position, Pak 38's already dead. FK288 now going to be trying to engage these units as they come up the road. ME109 is going to try and prevent this push coming in from Gonzo, and that's going to bomb out the M8 Spy. But can the FK do enough work in time? He's got 2 50 cals breathing down his neck, and I feel like this FK288 is not long for the world, as they do come under an abundance of 50 cal fire. And although one of the M5A1 half-tracks goes down, Gonzo's more than happy with that engagement. Going to be taking a +2 off Herr Robert in the early game, and secures his bottom side. And, well, Herr Robert's going to surrender. I think Herr Robert realised his mistake, and that was choosing the 16th Luftwaffe against Gonzo. Gonzo would know 100 times over how to dismantle the 16th Luftwaffe with any division that has any form of aggression in Phase A, and the 2nd Armoured was well suited to take full advantage of the lack of armour that the 16th Luftwaffe can present. Like, the Pak 38 just doesn't really do enough. It's got no veterancy. Honestly, most people don't even bring them with the 16th Luftwaffe because of that lack of veterancy. Some people prefer just to rely solely on the Panzerschrecks, but once again somebody falls into the 16th Luftwaffe trap, and at this point in the tournament that really surprises me. Herr Robert completely threw this game away. So we're really going to have to hope for a better second game versus Gonzo, the Gonzo versus Herr Robert matchup, as Gonzo gets pretty much a free win with that division choice. That was very, very lackluster and disappointing from Herr Robert. 285 kills to 45 losses in the end. Gonzo just going to work and dismantling everything that Herr Robert wanted to use to try and prevent player from making ground. Like the FK288, I like the choice, but it has to be used in a counter battery role in the start of the game versus these 81mm mortars, and then you want to use the Pak-38s as your primary AT, but they can't be on their own, especially if they have no veterancy, for example. Otherwise they'll just be pinned down quickly and become pretty much useless, and that's exactly what we saw. Also, due to the Panzerschrecks coming in slow tracked vehicles, it's quite obvious where they are, and that's also a problem because they don't get to the front line quickly, so they can't actually ambush the units that you're intending to. And because it's a UE630, it's quite a unique vehicle that only brings in Aufklärer and Panzerschrecks in the early game, and both of those you want to take out regardless. So it's going to become a target, and that's just the weakness of the 16th, especially in a 1v1 scenario. I think the 16th work out a lot better in like a team game, because especially if they work in like a supporting role. Say you have like a 2v2/3v3 map and you're playing a 3v3. You have two players who hold up the front line with their two divisions, and then you have like the 16th Luftwaffe as like a supporting division that relies quite a lot on the FK288s in the early game. That could be really strong in my opinion. But in a 1v1 scenario, they just don't have that armor, like I said, that they need, especially to counter enemy armored divisions like the 2nd Armoured, like 1st Panzer, anything like that, which has some serious early game firepower, will overrun the 16th Luftwaffe quite easily indeed. You know, it only takes a 1,200 meter mortar to pin down an 88, an FK288, or a Pak-38. So that's the problem that the 16th Luftwaffe have. They don't have any other variants from that. And well, that's going to be a game. So, unfortunately, quite a disappointing one. But due to obviously me wanting to show you all the games, especially this late into the tournament, I will be, of course, uploading this for you guys. But my apologies for the lack of content, I guess, from this one. We will have to hope that the next game is much better. But I will upload, obviously there'll be another video previous to this just to probably make up for the content. But that is it. Yeah, 1-0 to Gonzo. Robert throwing that one away. We'll have to see if he can put up a better display in the next one. But until then, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next game. Goodbye.